Good evening. Welcome to Good Guys Sports. I'm Jackson Gerke alongside our co-host Blake Gerke, the the BL Lomberger, the two Blakes, and Mike Roby. And on today's show, we are going to be talking about a Good Guys Sports special Super Bowl week. That's right. We are going to be talking. We're going to be talking the lead off to the big game and to the leadoff of whipping the less than a few days away until the kickoff of Super Bowl 58 with a bunch of storylines. So in this matchup, we've got the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, led by none other than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, the who also has a great defense led by Steve Bob, who I hear is a great defensive coordinator, and they are back in this game for a reason because of how great they were on the road against their games against Buffalo and Baltimore, and somehow surprisingly found a way to beat Josh Allen in their stadium in what was one of their in what was a tough hostile environment for those stadiums at Highmark and then M&T Bank, and somehow went up and then after that, a Buffalo team who thought they were going to be the best team for this season, but not so much in the postseason, as we all found out. Then then the week after that, then the next weekend after that, they faced ranked the number one ranked rushing defense of the Ravens, and then we all know how that game turned out. Kansas City shutting down the high scoring Ravens offense and just and then not allowing the Ravens and Raekwon Smith and those players on that team to not prevent from scoring a lot, and that's just because the Chiefs defense were all over the field whenever the Ravens had the ball. They couldn't put this game away or do anything or even score more points. That's how the Kansas City Chiefs just somehow play after play, they somehow find a way to get it done, and that's how they got the Super Bowl. So also, as for the 49ers, well, they somehow found a way to win in a come from behind win against the Lions at home, which we thought the Lions were going to go to the Super Bowl, but they didn't. So the 49ers, Brock Purdy somehow got lucky and found some magic in him, and then Brandon Ayuk just somehow got this comeback started in the second half, as we all pointed out from last week's show. And now the 49ers, just like they predicted, found a way to win at home, and they're going to be and that is going to be our Super Bowl matchup in Super Bowl 58. The 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 story the great comeback story and beloved of Brock Purdy, who nobody, Mr. Irrelevant of Brock Purdy, of who started his career at Iowa State, who nobody saw coming, um, playing in the Super Bowl for the first time in his career, going up against Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Martin State defense, and going and then George Kittle, and then Kyle Shanahan against Andy Reid. Kyle Shanahan what Kyle Shanahan went to Super Bowl a couple of times. It didn't go his way. He lost both of them. Now he's going to get his first shot at it and see if he can get the win this time. And then Andy Reid and then Patrick Mahomes, they are trying to do something that hasn't been happened in a decade, and that is repeat as champions. The last time they did it was back in the early 2000s, 03-04 season of the Patriots. And the other storyline: will Taylor Swift be in the Super Bowl? That's all we want to know, and that's what I want to ask you guys. And before and then the last thing I'll say about the Super Bowl is that there will be a first time DJ in between breaks of the game, and and then we all know about Usher doing halftime, and then also everybody in the whole world, including us in North America. This is the most. This has become more than a sporting event. It's become a event for all of us people and households, pretty much all over the nation and all over the world, including North America and all of us around the world. Quite frankly, and then you have and then also they're going to be airing this game on three different networks they can choose from, anywhere between the main network of CBS, Paramount Plus, and on Nickelodeon with their Slime Time thing that they do for this promotion for the CBS family of networks is what for just to see just to get all the kids excited for those for those of for those of them who for those of you who are really into that stuff for any kids out there who are watching and then of course for anyone who's not a fan of sports, the commercials, which are the best part of the Super Bowl. So those are my storylines for heading in the Super Bowl week, and that's where I start us off with, and ready to have all of you with you for our start of Good Guy Sports Super Bowl week, which we were live in Vegas together doing a live show like everybody else does, like Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen and among others. For every other Radio Row sports show, which I wish we were at this week, but you know what? There's always next year, if not the year after that. So I think we can do this together in the future, but wish we were there. Wish we were there this year. We had we sadly couldn't make it, but at least there's next year, and that's all I gotta say. And great to be with you, and I hope that you guys are doing well this week here on Good Guy Sports. Great to be with you all.
Yeah, those are some great storylines, Jackson, and I think you covered a lot of the main points in this particular matchup. I'm with you. I think this game in particular, the main couple of storylines that I'm focusing on really is the individuals that have the most to gain and those who have the most to lose. And you mentioned a few of them. Brock Purdy, he really has a lot to gain from this particular matchup, being the last pick of the draft in 2022 all the way to this year to having a chance to win a Super Bowl. Like you said, it's a pretty improbable rise for somebody of his stature and in the game. So if he's able to win the game on Sunday and become a Super Bowl winning quarterback, that certainly puts him in a bracket that not many people selected in his range in the draft would have ever thought about doing. And I think a lot of credit has to go to Kyle Shanahan for identifying him as the quarterback that fits his system the best. And you heard him talk about this in Media Week. The 49ers, I don't know if it's the president / CEO was talking about how earlier in the year, was it the previous year when Purdy was put into quarterback number 1 in San Francisco, he was talking about how before the season started, Kyle Shanahan thought that Brock Purdy was quarterback number 1 when on the depth chart he was number 3 behind their quarterback who they invested all this draft capital in, Trey Lance, who ended up being a bust. So it is kind of interesting how things like that work out, where somebody that was last pick of the draft versus somebody like Trey Lance, who they traded up to get in the first round of the draft. And Kyle Shanahan knew pretty quickly that Purdy was the guy to run his offense. And ever since he's been there, they haven't really looked back offensively. And you have to say he's done a great job running Kyle Shanahan's offense. And to focus more on Shanahan as well, he's another person that has a lot to gain and a lot to lose from this particular matchup as well, because as most people have pointed out, he was the Falcons offensive coordinator in that historic Super Bowl that they blew the 28-3 lead. So he does not have a Super Bowl ring currently, and he's one of those coaches that people talk about as being one of the best, but his Super Bowl playoff track record doesn't really equate to, an all-time great like a Sean McVay has a ring in terms of like young coaches that you want to measure up. So if Kyle Shanahan's able to win this game, that certainly elevates him into another huge bracket as well. Young coaches. He's still young, but he's had a lot of opportunities to win the big game as a coordinator and a head coach, and so far he's come up short. So there is a lot riding on this for Shanahan.
In Super Bowl 54, remember Kansas City scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to win that game. They were down 10 points with less than 7 minutes to go in the game, and Mahomes brought them back.
Yeah, I think people forget how that game ended up playing out because, like you said, San Francisco were pretty much in control for a majority of that game, right? And
Yeah,
there was one deep ball in particular that Jimmy Garoppolo missed in when they had a big lead that would have easily been a touchdown. And if that pass ended up coming off, then the 49ers probably would have won that game. And who knows how history is different, right? I mean, you can say Mahomes probably would have won Super Bowl at some point, but you just never really know. So yeah, that's a huge moment.
I think it's going to come down to the offensive lines.
Okay.
The Kansas City's offensive line, I think, is better, but the Kansas City tackles got to watch the holding calls, because those holding calls, could end a drive. And San Francisco, it's got tremendous rushing, so I don't think all the pressure's on Purdy. It's good to have somebody like McCaffrey in the backfield who can run the ball.
Yeah, and after so many years of mediocrity in Carolina, he's going to be up for this game for sure. I would expect CMC to have a huge game. So I think you're right. I think if San Francisco, I think the way they're going to move the ball is on the ground. I agree.
I think if Chris Jones gets to Purdy, it's going to be a different game.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that have been pointed out a lot from the San Francisco side is he had Brock Purdy struggled the past couple of weeks in the pocket when he was pressured against Detroit and against Green Bay. He struggled, to be honest, and that was a huge reason why they got in that huge hole against Detroit that they had to climb out of. So I think if that Kansas City defense, which you've pointed out, Mike, over the past couple of weeks, has really, really been a standout defense this past couple of weeks. So if they're able to get to Purdy, they're gonna need McCaffrey to have a huge game, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are peaking at the right time of the year. I mean, they're a different team the 3 games in the playoffs than they were in the regular season, I think. They were 27th in rush defense during the season, but the last 3 playoff games, like last week, they only gave up 81 yards to the Ravens and shut them down. Certainly in the second half. So I mean, they're a much different team. So they're peaking at the right time. I mean, it's interesting. I was reading I'm not going to, I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to vote against Mahomes. I was reading an interesting article in the Post. They were talking about, when he scrambles around and he gets outside the pocket, it's almost like he's playing basketball at that point. And then, Kelsey goes out and he's just doing a pick and roll and he's throwing the ball. I mean, it's, he's right. I mean, he's just playing a different game out there when he gets out of that pocket. And, so.
Yeah,
And
and I think that definitely speaks to the experience that this Kansas City team has. And like you mentioned, they're getting hot at the right time, and it's not a surprise to me, to be honest, given the number of long playoff runs that this team has been through. A few regular season struggles this year that I think people kind of wrote them off. Not wrote them off in terms of like they're still going to win the AFC West, they're still going to make the playoffs, but they were a 3 seed this year, so
mhm.
a lot of people were questioning their Super Bowl credentials, and I think the fact that Mahomes and Kelsey have been there and done it, coupled with a strong defense, that's really served them well in the playoffs. And yeah, I don't see any reason why that should change now. And I think that's just kind of a veteran playoff team, similar to Belichick and Brady's Patriots. This team is very similar. They just get the job done in the playoffs, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you got a very strong defense and a MVP at quarterback. It's that combination has won Super Bowls in the past, and it's hard to beat.
Guys, we've got we've got your points are all great, and we've got a team, the 49ers, and 4 + 9 is 13. And the Kansas City Chiefs have traditionally never donned the number 13. They're a very superstitious football team. But this year, Nazim Johnson is donning 13, which is a very rare number for Kansas City to wear. And they don't know what they don't know is it's very unlucky. And this will be the year that they will go down in the CMC Charlotte favorite. The only thing we've got to root for is going to pull the 49ers through, and they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. That's just that's scientific, I think.
Interesting. So you're riding hard on CMC for your pick, I'm assuming then.
That's all we got, Blake. It's all we got. We got nothing left over here.
Yeah.
We got nothing left.
So did you know that McCaffrey's father also won a Super Bowl?
No, for who?
Broncos.
Ah, that's right.
For
That's
now,
right.
were they?
Yeah.
Were
Thought
that, was that
about
the
that.
Denver Broncos then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ed McCaffrey was a wide receiver for the
Oh, that's
97,
cool.
98 Broncos.
That's cool. That's a good stat.
And Mike Shanahan was the coach.
That's right. A lot of history on both sides. Yeah, and speaking of history as well, I touched upon kind of Purdy and McCaffrey and what a Super Bowl victory could do for their legacy. But on the Kansas City side, I think there is some interesting discussions from the head coach and quarterback perspective as well. Given that Mahomes is only 28 years old and he's got a chance here to win his third Super Bowl, and I do feel like that would catapult him into a different class in terms of NFL history. There's not many quarterbacks that could boast those kinds of historical records, particularly at that age. And you would say he's got a lot of years left to get another one as well. So I think that's kind of the big storyline from this game is this kind of the historical perspective that Mahomes would put himself in with the third Super Bowl victory at this stage of his career, right?
Brady land.
Exactly. So,
Well, the
I
thing
think-
about
yeah.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Mahomes makes very little negative plays.
Exactly.
He doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes.
Yeah. I was listening to one of Jack's favorites, Dan Graziano on ESPN, and he was saying how there was a particular the touchdown catch that Travis Kelce made in Baltimore in the AFC title game. He made a good point that saying for Patrick Mahomes, that's an easy play that he knows where Kelce is going to be, and he knows the kind of throw that he has to make there. And for Mahomes, that's the kind of play that he makes on a regular basis. But for the average NFL quarterback, that's like a 1 in 100 kind of play. That's just not something that you can do easily. So the fact that Mahomes has that ability to just make that throw that I don't think anybody else in the league really can make as consistent as him in that pressurized of a playoff spot. I mean, it's just such an asset that you can't underrate,
Yeah. Well, the thing Kelsey is peaking or in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
In the 3 playoff games, he's got 29 catches, 262 yards, and 3 TDs.
Yeah,
And,
I think that speaks to your peaking at the right time point, right?
yeah. And one of the things that they were doing with Kelsey in the Ravens game was they were keeping him out of the middle, keeping him out of being covered by the good linebackers, and 49ers have got some good linebackers as well. But they're putting him out, putting him out.
Do you think a similar
wider.
strategy on Sunday? You think Kelsey will be more on the edge
Yeah.
of the field?
Yeah, I would watch him at the edge. Now he'll come back on in the middle when Mahomes is scrambling, but necessarily not on a design play to keep him out of being covered by a linebacker, because I don't think a cornerback or a safety is going to be able to cover Kelsey.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think what you said earlier about Mahomes' ability to keep the play alive, Kelsey is the biggest asset in that, because I feel like from every time that I've seen that I watch the Chiefs play and there's a broken play and Mahomes is scrambling in the pocket, every single time he finds Kelsey in the middle of the field, that Kelsey's able to get away from his defender and make space, and Mahomes always seems to find him. And I think there's just kind of that
That's
inherent
6th sense
connection.
between the two of them.
Exactly. There's just some kind of connection between them where Kelsey knows where Mahomes is going to throw it, and Mahomes knows where
Yeah.
he's going to be, and that's just something that you can't really predict, and it's such a valuable asset, particularly in the playoffs when you're going up against good defenses, good
Yeah.
defensive lines, and your pocket is going to be
Yeah.
compromised on a regular basis.
Every great quarterback had a favorite receiver.
I think this is it's like a Brady and Edelman in the playoffs,
Yeah.
right? How many times did Edelman bail out Brady
Yeah.
on some sort of broken coverage, right?
Or a Namath Maynard.
Absolutely. Or
Yeah, go
you could
back.
say Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne or Manningham, like every great quarterback has that receiver that just have that telepathic connection
Yeah.
with. And that's Mahomes and Kelsey, might have even, you could say Gronkowski as well for Brady as well. And honestly, I think Mahomes and Kelsey might have kind of perfected that sort of idea between the telepathic connection. It seems like they have that down to a pretty incredible degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of pressure is on Kelsey to bring home some hardware. That now that his Taylor Swift brought home a Grammy, he's got to bring home some hardware now.
Mike, are you talking about him bringing home a ring?
Yeah.
Are you suggesting he brings home a ring?
Well, a Super Bowl.
What kind of ring?
Super Bowl ring.
Okay. I was just clarifying what kind of ring. Okay.
There could be two
Blake
rings
beat
though.
Me to it.
It could be two
That's
rings.
right. Blake beat me to it.
He'd have to pay for the other one.
Holy smokes! Listen, you guys are right. It just seemed like Kelsey bailed him out every time he needed third downs all that last week, and I wonder if, I don't know how you stop Kelsey other than putting 3 people on him, but it just, if I'm the other coach, I'm taking Kelsey out of this game as much as I possibly can and making other people do it, and we'll see what happens. He's 34 years old. Any mention if he wins this game, he retires?
I haven't heard.
I've heard speculation of that, but nothing from him or the Chiefs organization. I know somebody asked him that at media day, and he just said that he didn't know, and he's focused on the game and yada yada yada. But given his age, I think it's a fair question to ask.
Well, if he does
his brother's
win,
not helping. It looks.
If he does win, he goes out on top.
His brother was having a blast in retirement, so he's probably getting a little jealous of his brother.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think I'm sure Jason Kelsey will have a great time in Vegas as well. That's a given. Now, I think one other person we should mention, Jackson, is
Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah. Go ahead. Talk about Pacheco.
Yeah, he's a very good running back, and as I mentioned before, I had him on my fantasy football roster this year, and
lucky you.
From if you watch him on tape, he is a very good running back, and he can make and he can make very good drives and push the ball down the field, and he could really score big, and he's just a very very good talented player on the field, and he's one of their by far best playmakers on the team, other than Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. But he is by far one of their toughest weapons on the field, and that's really who he is as a player for the Chiefs. On the other side of the ball, you have Deebo Samuel, who is also really good, and he can make some. He's a very good player too, but I think that in this game is like I said, going to come down to the last play, and I'll make my prediction a little later in the show. But I think with those two playmakers and on the defense side of the ball, Chris Jones and Fred Warner, it's going to be a fascinating matchup to see who wins this battle between those two. It's going to really just come down to this. Really going to come down to it in the Super Bowl. I would really think so. In my opinion, and I think that's just how it's going to really play out, and should be very fascinating to watch. I think this is going to. I think this is what the Super Bowl is going to really come down to, with those best star playmakers going right at it on the field. It should, as it should be, a very exciting game, and as it should be. And I think that with Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes and McCaffrey and Kelce, like you guys mentioned, going up against their best three players of Chris Jones and Fred Warner, who is their defense tackle and linebacker. Going to be very fascinating, and those two best physical players in the field are going to be at their best, and it's really going to come down to, like I said, it's going to come down to the best defensive tackle and play on the field is going to determine to win the Super Bowl, and that's just how I see it playing out in this game.
I hope it doesn't come down to the kickers.
I've
But
heard
if
a
it-
lot of people.
But if it does, I
Or
think
not.
Kansas City's got the edge on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard a lot of people are a little bit wary of the San Francisco kicker, so keep an eye
Moody-
on that.
Yeah, Moody's missed 2 field goals in the playoffs, and he
Yeah,
missed a 41-yarder in Cleveland to lose the game.
yeah, exactly. And given the spread, the 49ers are only a 2.5 favorites, so the bettors think this is going to be a close game, which always lends to the fact that a field goal might end up making the difference. So yeah, it looks like on paper Kansas City has that advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one other thing to mention from a historical perspective, I touched upon Shanahan trying to get his first ring, but I think kind of an underrated storyline is Andy Reid, and he's obviously a veteran coach and he's been around for a while and he's got 2 rings, but if he's able to get his 3rd ring, that would put him in a class of elite NFL coaches. And I could just ask sort of a trivia, if you guys know the other coaches that have won 3 or more Super Bowls. There's 4. So if Reid is able to enter that status, he would be the 5th. But does anybody know some of the names on that list, 3 or more titles?
What about Lombardi? What about all Vince?
He
Vince
won
is
2.
not on, Vince
He's
is not
won
on
2.
there.
He won the
Nope.
first 2,
Shoot.
then
I bet Mike
retired and became the head coach of the Washington Redskins.
There you go. So one of them is a modern,
Steelers.
yeah. So one of them is a modern coach that I've
Chuck
already mentioned
Noll.
today. Yep, Chuck Noll is one of them. Yep,
Well, yeah, Belichick.
Belichick is in there, of course, even though he can't get a job today, but he's still in that. He's
And
still in that category.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy D.
Jimmy Johnson is not correct. I don't,
No?
no, I think,
thought he was with the Cowboys.
so I think if
in
you
the
remember,
90s.
if you remember correctly, he was not the coach for one of those titles
Okay.
because I think, him and,
Jerry Jones,
yeah,
see
so
eye to
I
eye.
believe he left because of him and Jerry Jones obviously didn't get
Yeah.
along very well. So he was the Cowboys coach from 89 to 93,
Alright.
and I think they won one without
Joe
him.
Gibbs.
Joe Gibbs is correct. Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't the first one you said. And there's one more
Hmm.
that's got a connection to the game on Sunday, if that helps.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
On the San Francisco side.
Oh, who is that?
The old anybody remember the old coach of the 49ers back in the Montana days?
Yeah.
Was it? I don't know. Was it? I don't know. What? I don't know. I'm gonna. I don't know.
No, you got it. Say it.
It's not Bill Walsh, is it?
It is. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I'm sure nobody was helping you out on that one. Yeah, no. So Belichick, Noel Gibbs, and Walsh are the only coaches with 3 Super Bowls. There's actually 10 with 2, so it definitely is an elite class to be in. There's not many, and to be fair, if I know he's old, but if he sticks around with this core group of players for longer, I see no reason why he couldn't even get more than 3.
Yeah.
So that's just an interesting piece of trivia there from a historical perspective to say, obviously Andy Reid, he's a pretty laid back guy, so he's not going to have history kind of weighing on him during the game. But if he does win, that will certainly be a big feather in his cap.
I was reading where Eric Bieniemy showed up at the before the Ravens game and was helping the Chiefs offense out a little bit.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's speculation he may end up back in Kansas City.
I mean, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah.
I think the Kansas City offense kind of struggled at points this year. So bad wouldn't surprise me at all. And he certainly did a good job there the past couple of years. So
Yeah.
yeah. Jack, did you have any game notes to get through?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm reading some advantages here. So I'm looking at the I'm looking at the game. 49ers currently have the spread, like I said, at 2.5.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of down to the fact that, position by position, it's hard to pick against the 49ers when you look at it like that, because you've got talent defensively with the 49ers, you've got talent running back, tight end, receiver, quarterback. I mean, you can pick apart Brock Purdy as much as you want, but the fact is you got him to this point. So
This is a weird question, guys. Can you drive to Vegas from San Fran?
yeah, so I know drive from Vegas to LA would be around 4 to 5 hours, I think. So it'd be a far drive. So no, I think
Okay, no.
the
Okay.
optimal, yeah, it's Vegas to
So they
LA
both
drivable.
teams' fan bases got to fly. Okay.
Correct. It's closer. I would assume it's closer to San Francisco, obviously, but maybe
Yeah.
maybe not as much as I would think. Maybe I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
probably a good
Okay.
9-hour drive, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Let me ask you, sports gurus,
yeah.
another question. Did Belichick play in a Super Bowl as a player?
Now I don't think he played in the NFL, did he?
Did he not play in the NFL?
No,
Mike?
he was not much of a player. No,
Not that I recall.
no.
Okay, I was trying to look at a list to see the most Super Bowl rings as player and coach, and if he would still be the top of that with 6.
Well, I can't think of many coaches. Has there ever been a coach and player to both
That's a good question.
win the Super Bowl as a coach and a player? I don't, not that I can think of.
Okay.
Um,
No, I am I'm reading up an article, and no, he has not played as a head coach in the NFL.
Okay.
He
Thank you,
was
Jack.
he was a coach in the league and a executive for in the league before that, but not in his playing career in the NFL.
so it's a good piece of trivia, actually. I've got some trivia lined up for later, but there are actually 2 people that have won the Super Bowl as a coach and a player. Now that you mentioned it, one of them.
No way. Who we got?
Yeah. One of them is not so obvious, but one of them is a very well known, probably more known as a coach. But I can give you a hint. He was a tough tight end who he liked to smoke a cigar.
Current coach, Blake?
No, he has been retired for quite a while. He was an ESPN analyst for a little bit. He's known for his cigar smoking. If I tell you the team that he won with as a coach, it would give it away. So I'm trying to not give it away too easily. But he was a tight end at University of
Give us a
Pittsburgh, I believe.
division.
The division that he won a Super Bowl with was the NFC North team.
All right, Jackson, what you got? Come on, you got this, Jackson.
Jackson, can you think
Give
of
me the team, Jackson. Give me the teams in that division.
NFC North?
Mike Ditka.
Yes, he got it.
Jackson.
I've got a feeling someone was talking in his ear, but I'm
That's right.
gonna ignore that fact for right now. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Mike Ditka,
yeah.
Mike Ditka won it as a player and a coach, and as a coach for the Chiefs way back when. I'm assuming Tom Flores, who was won it as a coach and a player. So yeah, good piece of trivia.
That's
Actually,
a pretty elite category.
to be honest, I never knew that he. I believe Ditka would have won it with as a player with the Cowboys. I want to say maybe. I'm not as familiar with his NFL career.
Well, Ditka was played for the Bears.
Yeah.
Also,
he won it.
that's right.
He came out of University of Illinois and went to the Bears.
He didn't go too far from home, did he, Mike?
No, he didn't.
Yeah. So he won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys.
Okay.
In his last year of his playing career, and interesting enough, he actually won an NFL championship pre-Super Bowl with the Bears as well. So
that would have been in 64, 63.
You got it, 63. Yeah, you know your stuff. Absolutely, yeah.
I just can't remember what I did yesterday.
That's a great trivia. Yeah, very nice.
Which one? What Mike did yesterday, or the person that's won the Super Bowl as a player and a coach?
Oh, I was
Which
just
one's
saying.
a great trivia question?
Both.
Did you know that one of the umpires in the Super Bowl on Sunday also was a player in a Super Bowl?
No way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Guy named
That's a been there, done that.
Yeah.
I've walked in your shoes.
Exactly. I think his name is
How are they going to call it, guys? They going to let him play a little bit, or are we going to be throwing? Is there going to be laundry on the field everywhere?
I always prefer when they let him play as a spectacle. But obviously, there's people that argue that from a consistency basis, it should be officiated the same way every game. But they definitely let things flow a little bit more in these big games. You have to think, right?
That's what I would think. Yeah. I would think, yeah, you want to take it out of their hands for sure. Guys, is there any chance we see a blowout? Is there any chance? And I think the only way we're going to see a blowout, it would be a Kansas City blowout, and they would blow the San Fran out. You got to Brock Purdy, quarterback. I don't know. Is there any chance we see a blowout? I love a close game.
Well, I think this is say if Kansas City gets the ball first and they run and they do what the Lions did, it's going to be a bit different game because I don't think they're going to. I don't think they'll collapse like the Lions did. But I think
Yeah.
that's the 49ers. I think their Achilles heel is their run defense. They can be run on. And the Packers and the Lions prove that.
I agree. Yeah, I think the only way this game gets out of hand is like Blake mentioned, if Brock Purdy comes out and lays an egg, which given his inexperience, it's certainly possible, and he hasn't exactly lit up the past couple of teams that he's faced in the playoffs. So you certainly can't rule it out. So yeah, if Brock Purdy comes out and looks a little bit shaky, then and Mahomes is Mahomes, this game could not be as close as the market thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I think if they were to struggle and Kansas City has the ball first, or let's say if Brock Purdy has the ball first, and then all of a sudden you can't push the ball and run it or pass it downfield, and because you got the #1 ranked defensive Steve Balboa, he's feeling pressure, and they're going at and they're all over the place like they did in the last few games. They're just going. That would be rushing the quarterback and sacking him from each possession up whenever they have the ball. Let's say if one of his let's say if George Kittle or Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel or one of the 49ers, or one of the other 49ers playmakers, whether it's first or second down or third down or maybe even fourth down if they're close enough. But let's say if they make one of those and they miss the next two, or if they were in field goal range, they are, like you guys mentioned about, you force a fourth down and Kansas City gets a huge stop. Let's say it's a fourth down, like near field goal range. Then that is where I think the field goal kicker would just not feel a bunch of pressure, not really kicking the ball that great. And let's say if he misses one of the kicks and just it barely, let's say if it misses and it goes like, let's say you're in field goal range, but you have to force a very long field goal and he misses one of those kicks and it goes like, let's say if it kicks to the wide left or right, or just and misses it like the post, or misses it or not get any points. Let's say they don't get any points in the first few possessions of the game, and then you get the ball to the 49ers, and how this is going to turn out. Then I think yeah, because Chris Jones is really good and talented, and he can really rush quarterbacks and go after them. That's how like I said before, that's how that's how great of a team they are on both sides of the ball for this team. And if that happens, then I think the Chiefs will win the game if they get the ball, and for as many if the Chiefs have the ball for the longest possession of the game by minutes, then I think they'll win the game. That's just how this game is going to determine in the Super Bowl, and that's how I think this is going to play out. But I could be wrong. But I think that's my prediction. That's how it's my Super Bowl prediction is going to really play out for me for this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. They will win the game because of that reason. By making big plays, turn the ball over, force the 49ers to punt the ball more often, and get more stops. And then Kansas City does all that, then I think they'll win the game.
So you're taking Kansas City. What's your score prediction?
Score prediction for me. Score prediction for the Chiefs. I've got my final score prediction for the Chiefs is going to be. It's going to be 35 to 20 Chiefs.
Okay. And I know Blake Lineberger picked San Francisco, right? So do you have a score prediction for that? Or
Blake, as Lee Corso would say, Jackson's buddy, not so fast, not so fast. I was just joking, guys. There's no way San Francisco wins this game. Brock Purdy's new. He's never been there. Tiger Wood won all those championships back to back because he had been there, done it. He had ice water in the veins. Kansas City absolutely destroyed San Fran. They did a good job of getting there, but you can't take a Brock Purdy to the Super Bowl his first time and expect to win. I say, just like Jackson, the Chiefs win, but they're going to win by 2.5 touchdowns. They're going to win 24-7.
okay.
Hopefully, I did the
Okay.
math right.
I like it. I like it. Mike, what do you got?
Oh, man. I'm usually one that goes out on a limb. I've got the Chiefs 24, 49ers 21.
So you've got a close game then.
Butker's going to kick a field goal with less than 2 minutes to go.
Ooh, so a game-winning field goal, you think, decides it for
Yeah.
Kansas City's favor.
No wide right.
So you think the kicking game ultimately will be what decides this one then, you think?
Yeah. It may come down to that.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah. Yeah, so we got 3 Kansas City so far, which is interesting. So it's very tempting for me to try to pick the upset. I don't know. I mean, let's see. I've got 2 cups here that I'm a little thirsty, but I'm not quite sure which one I should be picking from. On one hand, San Francisco on paper has so many weapons: Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. They've got defensive stars, but on the other hand, you've got Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, and they've been there and done that. So I just don't know. But ultimately, I've picked against Mahomes and Kelsey so often, and I've been wrong. So I think I'm going to have to drink from the Kansas City Cup, and I'm picking the Chiefs 31-17.
All right. Like it.
It'll be a clean sweep here for our Super Bowl predictions on Good Guy Sports. Now we won't have a show next week because Uncle Mike's going to be going on a ski trip to the Great Wolf Lodge. With you and your wife together. That should be a lot of fun. But that's part of the reason. Now that's why we're not going to be having a show next week because we can't do the show without you, and we'll be really thinking of you, and we'll be always with you in your hearts, and we're always here for you no matter what. But we will support you no matter what, Uncle Mike. And
Well, thank you, Jack. That means a lot.
yeah. So we will revisit our Super Bowl breakdown and our breakdown and analyze the game 2 weeks from Thursday, not next Thursday, but the week after. We will revisit the game and break down the key plays and on if we got it right or not, which I'm assuming we did, but you never know. I mean, it's a Super Bowl, but anything could happen. But as we all know how things can turn out in the big game. So but yeah, we will revisit the game not next Thursday, but the week the week from Thursday. We will break down the game and analyze what went right and wrong for the key plays of each player in Super Bowl 58. So stick around for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go, should we touch upon, there's going to be a lot of festivities, Las Vegas halftime show and stuff like that. So are you guys looking forward to the halftime show?
I'm looking forward to the snacks.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry. So that's a great question. What is everybody's favorite Super Bowl snack? I'm gonna say wings. You can't go wrong with wings, in
Oh,
my opinion.
I was worried somebody was going to take it, so I've got to go. Buffalo chicken dip for sure. Come on, that just screams Super Bowl.
That's a great one.
You can smell it when you walk in. It's in the crock pot with the plastic wrap on the inside. You can smell it right when you walk in the house.
Well,
We're-
wait,
We're
can't
gonna
go
make a
wrong
we're
there.
gonna make a pizza.
Oh, nice. Nice. What kind of
Ooh.
pizza?
We doing
Pepperoni?
we doing
Flat-
Chicago, Detroit, or normal?
Flatbread.
New York style.
Ah,
Okay.
St.
flatbread.
Louis. What are we
Yeah.
doing?
No,
We're
just a
making- St. Louis.
flatbread with some good mozzarella, a ball of buffalo mozzarella cheese, and some little bit of provolone.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of
Yeah.
base we got, Mike? We going traditional tomato base, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I said pizza, not the white stuff.
That sounds fantastic. Jackson, what's your
Jackson,
favorite
what about
Super
you?
Bowl? Yeah.
Oh, for me, let's see. I think I'm all about I don't know, maybe some miniature I could go healthy with I don't know. Maybe some homemade, I don't know, mozzarella sticks, mini burgers, or I don't know,
Sliders is a great call.
Sliders.
little,
I love sliders.
I don't know, maybe a little
Well, I know you love chips, right? Chips and dip is
yes,
one of
chips
your
and dip. Oh yeah, that's good stuff right there. Yes, I do enjoy that. And yeah, I do like to enjoy all the healthy stuff. Pretzel bites, mini hot dogs.
Yeah,
pretzel
Jackson,
bites is great.
Jackson, I love all the healthy, the hot dogs and the wings. Jackson, that's my kind of
Super
healthy,
healthy.
food. I'm glad I'm eating a healtty diet. The burgers too.
Dogs and wings
Jackson,
and chips and dip.
dogs and
Yeah,
wings and burgers,
all that
baby.
health food.
Jackson, I know you're an ice cream aficionado. Does Publix have a Super Bowl themed ice cream out right now?
I do. I have to check, but I do. I always check on the app on my phone, but if I had to guess, I do not. I don't think they do, but
Okay.
So you need to get yourself some Ben and Jerry's, the Americana, is Stephen Colbert's on it. It's got chocolate covered pretzels and caramel
Holy smokes.
and all that. That's the best. You know, you're watching the Super Bowl, it's for America. The Americana ice cream from Ben and Jerry's.
In South Carolina. Isn't he a South Carolina native?
He is.
Yeah.
He's from South Carolina.
That's a great
I think he's
option.
a Charlestonian.
Yeah. So there you go.
we still got a shout out from one of our late night hosts on network TV. At least we said his name. That's what I want to just let everyone know that we have our own sports show, and I'm sure he heard us all there and heard us about us.
Jackson, my final take in all this is hopefully the Super Bowl is a close game. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I do want to say, speaking of numbers, anytime I see anything on baseball, I just think Mike. There's a Japanese pitcher, Mike. I can't remember what year this is. I think it's pretty recent. I think the guy pitched, it was like 6 games in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he was averaging, I think, 120 pitches per game. And he pitched like 6 games, 5 days, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And the record he set with the amount of pitches he threw, and I think he threw the majority of the games he won and he gave up very few hits. And here I'm thinking, what are we doing with our pitchers? We're gonna have to start getting more. Washington's gonna have to get more pitchers from Japan because these guys got arms that they're rubber over there. They don't fall off.
No. That's the way he used to
And
pitch
they must
it
not
here.
have the pitch count. Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers signed Yamamoto coming from
You
Japan.
guys called that
that
he would recruit him. That might
Yeah.
have been a little bit of a BOGO on the front end. If we sign you, what are the chances we're going to get him as well?
Yeah. So
Hey, couple more things real quick. We are short on time, but I want to get a couple things in before we get ourselves out here for the night. Will any of you be watching the NFL honors tonight? I know I will.
I don't, not thinking so, but who is your prediction for MVP?
Well, Keegan-Michael Key is hosting, which I hear he's hilarious and funny and has a good comedian stuff that he does. Whenever you like see his shows and stuff. But so you got AP Most Player of the Year, AP Coach of the Year, Assistant Coach, Comeback, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Next Gen Stats Mode of the Year, Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, which is a very special award that they hand out every year. Something you got to tune in for. NFL Inspired Change, Pro Football Hall of Fame Class of 2023. Salute Service Award, which I hear is very special. I know that Ron Rivera has been wasn't part of this before, and I know and that was very special to watch. I was inspired to watch it last year. It was very inspiring and heartful to me. And then Celebration Award of the Year, Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award, who was by far one of the greatest players of all time in modern era for the Steelers. Shout out to him. And then Jacob Jones Sack Leader Award and NFL Fan of the Year and Sound Season. And so NFL Fan of the Year, Sound Season, and there you have it. The NFL Awards, NFL Honors Show, they call it, which takes place every week during the week of the Super Bowl. So very quick before we get ourselves out here, you guys have any thoughts if any of you are going to be watching this this award show?
No, I mean it's been a great NFL season, so I'm sure they're gonna cap it off quite well. And I know we certainly had a great time breaking down the whole season, so it's great to honor the great NFL season in general, isn't it?
That's right.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know that Kelly Clarkson hosted last year, but this year, Keegan-Michael Key, which I feel like they're both funny, but let me tell you, nobody is even funnier. Yeah, yes, Kelly Clarkson is funny too, but nobody is even more funnier and hilarious than Keegan-Michael Key, who is by far the number one Lions fan out there for celebrities. So a movie actor and comedian. So he's very funny and hilarious. If you ever watched him on TV, if you ever put him on your TV screen, he's hilarious and funny.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, and then
All right, Jack, you want to get us out of here?
yes, very quick. I do want to update on. I know that we're very short on time, but I want to just update you guys very quick, even though our show is about to be ending very soon. But very quick, I want to give you a spring training update for Nationals since you're wearing Nationals red. I do want to let you know that the Nationals' first spring training game is against the Astros on the 24th of February. Want to let you know that we are less than a few weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting to their facility down in West Palm Beach. Just want to give you an update on that, Uncle Mike, as we close out our show for the week. Just want to get that out there before you head out to your ski trip. That's all I want to let you know. So just want to give you a heads up.
Getting
Great.
close.
Thank you, Chad.
Getting close.
Absolutely.
Are the Astros the Expos?
No, Nationals are the Expos, but the Astros and the Nationals
Expos.
share the same spring training facility.
Oh, I didn't know any teams did that. Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Food for thought.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I hope everyone has a great Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yep. Everybody, everybody enjoy the big game, the commercials, the halftime show.
The food.
Don't
Food.
forget about a DJ performing in between commercial
Usher.
breaks and different quarters of the game too. So
And a fun game, Jackson. Every time they show Taylor Swift, you got to drink a swig of water. Okay.
all right, I'm
Don't
on
be a
it,
thirsty
Mike.
boy.
All right.
Yep. Enjoy Usher and the halftime, the commercials, all the Super Bowl fun that has in store for us that brings you for the big game and for the event of the year in sports or in general, the event of the year for all of us worldwide humans out there. For people more than a sporting event, like I said, the event of the year for all of us, people
All right.
watching. The national anthem, the American Beautiful, everything. That's the Auburn Super Bowl. It'll all be there. So everybody tune in for the big game. It should be a lot of fun. Enjoy the festivities of the Super Bowl, everybody. And Blake, Mike, enjoy all the festivities pre-game, post-game, during the game, all of that. Enjoy the snacks and everything, being with your families. Whoever it is you're watching with, whether it's for families and friends. We'll be thinking of you during Super Bowl Sunday. We'll be here for you on Good Guy Sports. Enjoy the game. We will be cheering for you no matter where you're watching where you'll be watching the game at, whether it's at home or at a friend's house or at a restaurant or at a bar, wherever. We'll be here for you on Good Guy Sports. Let us know where you'll be watching the Super Bowl, so that we will let you know. Just let us know before you get yourself out here. Where will one of you be watching the Super Bowl on Sunday?
On my couch.
What about
Me
you,
too.
Blake?
Me too.
Me too. Me three. See you,
All
Jack.
right. I think we all know where we're going to be. I'm going to be in the couch watching the game too. I think we're going to be all in our comfortable home watching it on the couch. So I think we're all know where we're going to be. All right, Blake. Great talking to you. Sorry it took too long to end the show, but I just want to get a few stuff in. But Blake, Mike, great talking to you. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday, and go Chiefs. Hope it's going to be a sweep of Patrick Mahomes. We'll find out in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time. Great talking to you. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will talk to you on Good Guy Sports in 2 weeks.
Adios.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks, Jackson. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Right back at you. See you guys.